Good afternoon and welcome to BUTV News at Noon. I'm Jane Rose.
And I'm Kaylee Pietzu, leading the news at this hour. Today's show host Matt Lauer is out of a job, fired by NBC News for what is called inappropriate behavior. Matt Lauer was the face of NBC News and the Today Show for 20 years, but is also well known in Boston, where he was a talk show host earlier in his career. BUTV reporter Bree Garrett is outside of WHDH-TV in Boston, where Lauer used to work.
Thank you, Kaylee. We are right outside of WHGH, previously known as WNEV, where Matt Lauer was a host for Talk of the Town. This is one of the previous positions that he did have before becoming a permanent news anchor for Today in 1994.
I'm heartbroken for Matt. He is my dear, dear friend and my partner, and he is beloved by many, many people here. And I'm heartbroken for the brave colleague who came forward to tell her story, and any other women who have their own stories to tell.
Today, co-host Savannah Guthrie emotionally announced that Matt Lauer has been terminated from NBC News after a colleague came forward with reports of inappropriate sexual behavior from Lauer. In her announcement, Guthrie expressed the dilemma she and those close to Lauer are facing, asking, quote, "How do you reconcile your love for someone with the revelation that they have behaved badly?" End quote. NBC News Chairman Andy Lack also released a statement this morning about Lauer's firing, stating that, quote, "It was the first formal complaint made against Lauer during his time at NBC," but added that the network had, quote, "reason to believe that this may not have been an isolated incident," end quote. The firing comes just days after Charlie Rose was fired from CBS for multiple accusations of sexual misconduct. Susan Walker, a television newsroom professor at Boston University who worked with Lauer over 30 years ago at the local Boston affiliate WHDH, comments on how this recent trend has affected the culture of television.
What's happened with television news on the network level is that we have star anchormen with way too much power. They set the budgets, they get paid enormous amounts of money, they hire their own producers, they have almost total editorial control.
Now, NBC has not yet announced who might be replacing Matt Lauer, but there have been names like Megyn Kelly and Curry have been tossed around as possible names. What we do know right now is that the contract was due to be extended until the end of May 2018. For BUTV News, I'm Brianne Garrett. Back to you, Kaylee.
Thank you. Several news outlets, including the New York Times and Variety, were reporting investigating Lauer's behavior for months. The Congressional Black Caucus and other Democratic leaders are calling on House Representative John Conyers to resign. Conyers, the longest-serving member of the House, has been accused of multiple accounts of sexual harassment by former aides. He has agreed to cooperate with ethics investigations and has left his seat on the Judiciary Committee. The mounting pressure comes today as the House will vote on a rule change requiring all members and staff to receive preventative training on sexual harassment. Former White House strategist Steve Bannon will head back on the campaign trail for Alabama Senate candidate Roy Moore. The two will appear at a rally next week in anticipation for the special election to be held on December 12th.
North Korea's latest missile flies 10 times higher than the International Space Station before crashing into the Sea of Japan. In the first launch since September, the intercontinental ballistic missile spent 53 minutes in the air, flying nearly 2,800 miles. North Korea has tested 18 missiles in 2017, with this latest flying the furthest.
You know, the North Koreans have been on a path developing an intercontinental ballistic missile for some time. And each one of these missile tests moves them along on that path.
On a standard trajectory, the missile would have the capability of reaching the U.S. mainland, reaching as far as Washington, D.C. A suspected armed robber crashes into a pool in an attempt to flee police in Revere. Gianni Mazzi of Peabody was reportedly running from authorities when he crashed his van into a family's in-ground pool. The pool cover managed to stop the van from taking on water and allowing Mazzi to take off on foot.
It was pretty loud. I mean, it was a wild crack, enough to make me jump.
Mozzie was taken to a hospital following the manhunt before being turned over to Everett police and is expected in court today.
A Tampa suspect in a string of murders is now in police custody. Police authorities announced yesterday that Howell Emmanuel Donaldson, a 24-year-old local, was taken into custody on suspicion of terrorizing a local neighborhood by murdering 4 of its residents. Donaldson was arrested after bringing the suspected murder weapon into work at McDonald's and showing other employees. After police were called, they used the man's cell phone data to link him to the murder locations. Local police are still unclear on a motive. Relatives of Texas massacre victims are suing the U.S. Air Force for negligence in allowing the gunman to purchase weapons. The Holcomb family is claiming the Air Force should have reported the domestic violence conviction of gunman Devin Kelly, responsible for the church shooting, 3 weeks ago. Joe Holcomb lost 8 family members, including his pregnant sister-in-law, in the shooting.
One of the drivers involved in a deadly crash in Medfield almost struck an officer with their vehicle only moments before the crash. Police officers are still investigating the 3-car crash that killed one driver and closed the road for 5 hours. The driver of the Jeep involved in the crash reportedly drove by officers who were on foot at an alarming rate prior to the crash. There is still no known cause of the accident. And Black Friday may be known as the scariest shopping day of the year, but for shoppers in Billerica, last night may have been the exception when a truck slammed into the front of a store. A blue Dodge Ram pickup truck just avoided barricades to crash into the front of the Bob's on Route 3A, landing only feet away from the return desk. Police are ruling out a medical emergency and alcohol in the crash that injured no one. The store is closed now, but is set to reopen once the front is reconstructed.
Former presidential candidate Hillary Clinton stopped in Boston for her book tour last night and was greeted by a sold-out opera house. Clinton received a warm reception while promoting her book, What Happened, and spoke candidly about the 2016 presidential election and her shortcoming as a candidate. She lamented a loss of genuine human connection with the voters.
Take somebody's hand, you look in their eyes, and I really just want that so much because I want to know what's going on and give me some insight into your life. Why are you here? What do you need from a president or a senator? Instead, it's, can I take a selfie? Thank you.
Clinton called on the Democratic Party to be a big tent party and called the GOP tax plan an abomination. And more chaos on college campuses last night. A conservative commentator faces charges and is lashing out this morning after an altercation at a UConn event. Lucian Wintrich, the White House correspondent for right-wing blog Gateway Pundit, appeared at an event sponsored by UConn's College Republican group. His speech titled, "It's Okay to Be White," was interrupted when a female student grabbed his papers. Wintrich fired back quickly, reaching his arm around the young woman's neck.
It's obscene that a person that's supposed to be a White House correspondent, he's supposed to be representing our country and what our democracy and press and what freedom of the press is supposed to stand for, act like that. It's obscene.
Wintrich was charged by police with a breach of peace, released on $1,000 bail, and today tweets that it's unfortunate some kids at UConn felt the need to be violent. Coming up, the GOP's $1.5 trillion tax plan will face its fate today.
And later, we take a look at the newest WTBU studio and the former students who paved its way. These stories and more when we return.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice. And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Search Ready Kids at nyc.gov or call 311.
Get out to the forest.
Let the kids connect to their roots. It's gonna be so much fun.
Yeah! Woo-hoo! Hey, guys, wait up!
and discover the wonders of nature with your family.
These trees are the key to our way of life.
Fresh air.
What a glorious morning!
Clean water.
Woohoo! This is great!
An endless forest adventure.
Let's rock this jungle! Yo, this is untapped territory.
How amazing!
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
How you doing? My name's Steve. My family's lived in this neighborhood for years. Recently, things got so tight, we had to go to our local food bank for help. I lost a lot of sleep worrying about what the neighbors might think. That is until I saw them there, too. How'd I do, Steve?
A little stiff. You could have done a little better.
What? Come on. You know, I have an Academy Award.
Yeah, but not for playing me.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
Hey, everybody. Heart disease affects 1 in every 3 women in America, but you can fight back. There's no time to lose. Mothers, sisters, daughters, families, and friends, it's time to shout louder, stand stronger, and demand change. Let's go!
To the Batmobile. Dang it.
To the invisible jet! Dang it. Together, we can put an end to heart disease. It's time to go red for women. I could use your help. Yeah! Learn more from the American Heart Association at www.goredforwomen.org.
The GOP tax proposal moves forward today as the Senate will vote to take up the plan in hopes of a full vote later in the week. President Trump had a tense exchange Tuesday with GOP Senator Ron Johnson, whose yes vote to advance the plan was in jeopardy. CNN reporter Omar Jimenez has more.
A crucial final stretch for tax reform on Capitol Hill.
It's a challenging exercise. Think of sitting there with a Rubik's Cube, trying to get to 50. And we do have a few members who have concerns, and we're trying to address them.
It's why President Trump's meeting GOP senators at their weekly closed-door policy lunch Tuesday, trying to get what would be a much-needed legislative win over the finish line.
It's an important time for our country. We've come a long way on the Finance Committee to get the bill this far, and I believe we're going to be successful.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell can only afford to lose 2 votes, and at the moment, there are some Republican senators that have concerns about the plan. For example, Senator Bob Corker of Tennessee has expressed concerns about increased deficits this plan would create, but has indicated he will likely vote for the plan.
I was able to work out something that is fairly satisfying to me just a few minutes ago.
As the legislative calendar slowly begins to wind down for the year, the pressure to get tax reform done before 2018 is as high as ever.
If it doesn't do what I think it will do, then we will lose. So we're going to rise and fall on how this affects the American people.
The Senate bill now heads to the floor for a vote, and if it passes, it would still need to be reconciled with the notably different House version before making it to the president's desk. In Washington, I'm Omar Jimenez.
A new CBO report on the tax bill says it would increase the deficit by $1.4 trillion by 2027 and disproportionately hit lower-income taxpayers. The U.S. economy is expanding at a rate of 3.3% during the last quarter. That's the report that came out today from the Commerce Department. This fast expansion in the gross domestic product is the result of increased investment in businesses.
Anthony Scaramucci resigned from his position on Tufts University's Fletcher School of Law Advisory Board. The former White House spokesman's resignation on Tuesday comes after he threatened to sue a student and the school's newspaper. His threat is in response to 2 op-ed stories written by Camilo Caballero objecting to Scaramucci's position at the school. Students and alum have been protesting Scaramucci's role, arguing that he was an inappropriate representative of the school. Scaramucci's attorney demanded the Tufts Daily retract the story and the student writer issue an apology. Tomorrow night, BU's student-run radio station WTBU is throwing a grand opening for their new studio. The opening represents a major rebound for the station, which is left scrambling after suffering a devastating 3-alarm fire on March 25th. That destroyed the entire studio.
This is the first official broadcast out of our new studio on the 3rd floor of the College of Communications here at Boston University.
A year and a half later, we are now here in this new studio, and I couldn't be more relieved. I don't think I've really gotten over the honeymoon period yet with the new studio. Every time I walk by it, I kind of have to pinch myself, like, is this really real?
On October 4th, WTBU opened their brand new state-of-the-art studio. The process was long and tiring, but has given those involved a reason to look back into their station's past.
I'd really like to take a course in radio journalism and for news reporting. And he said, absolutely not. Because a woman's voice will never carry enough authority to deliver the news.
While Shirley wasn't allowed to be on the radio during her college career, Robin Schultz was breaking through the testosterone-laden atmosphere of WTBU as the first female DJ.
It's very different in 1969 than it is now. It was before the age of digital, before the age of real computers, and it was, but it was a lot of fun. There was a real spirit of camaraderie at the station, and a lot of kibitzing, and nobody took it too seriously, because in those days it was just a little teeny tiny AM station, and the only place that you could get it was in the dorm.
Today, WTBU broadcasts worldwide through its website and app. But while WTBU's technology has changed, the spirit of WTBU remains.
I think the most challenging part, especially being part of the executive board for WTBU, was continuing that sense of community here that WTBU embodied before the fire. Our Thursday night event is here to celebrate the reopening of the new studio, but also to celebrate our DJs.
For BUTV News, I'm Erica Matera-Banoon.
The station will be hosting an alumni event here at COM at 6 p.m. before moving the celebration over to the Trustees Ballroom for a live show. There will be 4 performances, a cash bar, and food. You can find the Eventbrite to buy tickets by searching WTBU Relaunch Party. LeBron James faced his first game ejection in his NBA career. More details to come after the break.
And we all know our mascot Rhett, but who is he named after? I promise you'll give a damn. These stories and more when BUTV News at noon returns.
This is the moment I knew. His future had no boundaries.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your closet. Still no jobs, just more stuff? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
The biggest sports stars in the country are taking heat over major controversies, and so could the face of sports right here at Boston University. Samantha Smerjniak has the details.
Shocking reports leading NFL News today reveal Eli Manning was benched as the Giants' starting quarterback. Eli has started 210 games as quarterback. Coach Ben Mikado said he could continue to start to keep up his streak, but that Geno Smith or David Webb would then take over. This was obviously not an ideal option for Manning, who decided to just opt out.
I don't know. I don't know. I'll take it one week at a time. It's not a preseason game where you're going to play start to the half. It's the next week, a quarter, a series. That's not fair. It's not fair to me. Not fair to Geno. That's not how you play. You play to win.
Many Giants fans are unhappy with the shakeup and hope to see Manning playing again soon. Sports controversy made its way to the NBA as well when LeBron James was ejected from a game for the first time in his 15-year career. James allegedly swore at the referee after he was assessed with a technical foul when he dribbled up court and missed a layout during last night's game against the Miami Heat. The referee claims James went up to him, threw an air punch, and vulgarly argued with him. He was tossed in the third quarter with only 2 minutes remaining. Former Celtics guard Avery Bradley may have been traded to the Detroit Pistons, but his return to TD Garden showed Boston still has huge love for its player of 7 years. Right before he was announced in the starting lineup introductions, the lights dropped and a montage of Bradley's Celtics career highlights played on the Jumbotron. This came as a surprise to the audience and Bradley, who said it meant a lot to him and Boston will always be his second home. Tonight, the Bruins will face off with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Unfortunately, things are not looking too good for the team, who will take on one of the top teams in the NHL, since two of the vital players, David Krejci and Jake DeBrusk, will be unavailable due to body injuries. This seems to be a never-ending storm for the team, who has had 3 other injured players this season. However, Coach Bruce Cassidy says there has been a lot more positive than negative and is focused on the 20 guys in the lineup. And the Patriots are set to face off with the Bills this Sunday. This could be troublesome for the Buffalo team since they have a chance at the playoffs this year, but have only defeated the Pats in the past 16 years 4 times. And it's not looking like the Patriot players are taking any game lightly, especially so deep into the season.
Of each and every game, once you hit Thanksgiving, it's evident, and you can see it kind of in the future. And so, there's just a lot going into every single game.
Almost, yeah. The Pats have 5 games left, 2 of which are against the Bills. So it's going to be interesting to see if they could keep up that long winning streak in the 2 teams' history. And we all know Boston University's mascot, Rhett, but what we don't know is just where this name came from. BUTV's Nebe Betre explores the history and current controversy behind Rhett's surprising origins.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
The 1939 classic, Gone with the Wind, is mainly remembered for its powerful romance, but more important was the social message the film promoted.
For a lot of Northern people, it made them very sympathetic to the Confederacy. It made them very, really kind of take the side of, Southern white people and kind of feel like they had really suffered.
The popularity of the film inspired Boston University students to name their mascot Rhett, after the film's Confederate protagonist. The saying goes, no one loves Scarlet more than Rhett.
Since the events surrounding Charlottesville, college students across the nation have been expressing their perspective with their school's controversial histories, including Brown, Stanford, and Boston University.
The same outrage that we feel towards Confederate monuments around the country is happening on our very own campus, and if we are proud to be Terriers, we shouldn't be proud of that kind of legacy as well.
However, some students say a movie character should not impact how they view the school.
The mascot doesn't mean anything in terms of representing the entire university.
I guess it makes it different that it's fictional because he never committed any atrocity.
For some students, the issue goes much deeper than just the name.
Still symbolizes a time where people were against black people and believed in slavery, so it still means the same thing to me whether it's a fictional person or not.
For BUTV 10, I'm Nebe Betre.
While there are no discussions to change the name of our mascots, students on both sides agree that healthy conversations can help students deal with the issue.
Quick look at this week's Terrier action. Tonight, men and women basketball teams are both on the road. The men will take on New Hampshire, while the women will face off against Rhode Island, both at 7 p.m. tonight. And Friday, we'll see our men and women's hockey teams take on rival Boston College. The women will play at 2 before the men take the ice at 7. Apple is working on an upgrade to fix a flaw in its latest operating system. The flaw was discovered in the Mac OS High Sierra operating system and could put your data at risk. It allows anyone the ability to log into a Mac without a password. All a user has to do is type the word root as the computer's username. The glitch is a rare and potentially embarrassing failure for Apple. After the break, our own Juliette Beauchamp will give a look at what we can expect this week in weather.
And a little girl in Boston has one wish for Christmas, and she's asking for your help. We'll tell you how after the break.
Body language. Without saying a word, it can tell you so much. Like someone is having a stroke. Know the sudden signs. Learn fast. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time. Time to call 911 immediately. The sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Learn the body language, the sudden signs, and spot a stroke fast.
Here's your check. Oh, you got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. God, no.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early. You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Enroll, we say, we want you to be okay. Enroll, we say, take care of people for goodness sake. There's a plan for every budget, so don't accept defeat. Now you can get covered and still buy me treats.
You take care of your pets. Now it's their turn to take care of you. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn about your health insurance options.
The holiday season is approaching, which means outdoor markets and activities. Juliette Beauchamp has the weather forecast for this week and will let you know if it's time to bundle up and get ready for winter.
Well, Jane, good news. It certainly isn't feeling like winter yet today. It's currently 53 degrees here in Boston. Nice and warm. Sun's out. Pretty nice for the end of November. The high today is a balmy 56 degrees, so no need to break out those winters just yet. And taking a look at the temps to the west and the north, it's currently around 50 degrees in Worcester and 51 in Springfield and 52 in New Hampshire, in Manchester, and 51 in Portsmouth. A bit colder all the way up to the northwest with temps in the high 30s. And moving on to the south, it's a bit warmer than it is here in Boston. Mid to high 50s on the Cape, 59 in Hyannis and 54 in Provincetown, and nearly 60 degrees in Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard. Almost warm enough for a swim if you're feeling adventurous. Maybe not the best idea. And water temps are around 50 degrees, so you might not want to take a dip. However, beware of wind gusts reaching 30 miles per hour along the Cape. Maybe not a day for sailing, relatively little wind throughout the rest of Massachusetts. Great day to go outside. And now taking a look at the week's forecast, we're looking at a fairly mild week, perfect for weather, for all of the tree lightings and the holiday events coming up in the next few days. Today, that's the warmest day of the week with a high of 56. The high tomorrow is 44, so if you'll be attending the tree lighting in the Common, be sure to wear a scarf, maybe grab a hot chocolate. Very festive, nice way to get in the holiday spirit. Rest of the week warms up a bit with high temperatures in the 40s, up to 50 on Friday, 53 on Tuesday with a chance of showers. Overall, not bad for the first week of December. Pretty comfortable, no need to take out the heavy winter coat just yet. Back to you, Jane.
A North Shore girl is battling cancer, will likely spend the holidays in the hospital. But there's something that will lift her spirits, getting mail. 4-year-old Ruby was diagnosed with stage 4 neuroblastoma last summer. She's been at Tufts Floating Children's Hospital for the past month after undergoing a major surgery that removed 95% of her tumor. She's excited to get holiday cards in her new mailbox.
Unfortunately, this little girl has spent Halloween, her birthday, Thanksgiving, most likely Christmas and New Year's in the hospital. And this is gonna just help her and make her happy and, you know, give her some joy.
You can send cards and well wishes to Ruby at the address found on WCVB's website. And that's it for BUTV News at Noon. I'm Jane Rose.
And I'm Kaylee Pietzu. Thanks for watching and have a great day.